On. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the room. It's so great to virtually see you today. Jackie and Joe and Kelly and Ruta, Tony, Trisha, Gina, Danielle, Alexandra. So happy that you're here with us today. We're going to get started in just about 2 minutes. Trisha, it's good to see you all. Feel free to drop any questions that you may have into the Q&A or into the chat box. And we're really excited to chat with you today and to learn with you today. We'll give about 120 more seconds and then we'll kick off for today. Hi, Sarah. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar hosted by APNA. My name is Erica Slade and I will be your host today. We're thrilled to have you join us as we focus on elevating talent acquisition through concierge recruitment and skills-focused strategies. Whether you are tuning in to refine your recruitment processes or to better understand like emerging trends or to enhance the offerings that your services or that your agency offers, today's webinar is going to be designed to provide you with valuable insights that can transform the way you connect with families and nanny talent. Today, our speaker is the one and only Miss Robyn Grable. Robyn is the founder and CEO of Talents Ascend. She's an award-winning advocate, speaker, author, entrepreneur, CEO, and proud Navy veteran. Her unwavering commitment to inclusive employment is well served by corporate and military experience, including more than 30 years of private sector human resources after 9 years of service in the U.S. Navy. Robyn is a champion of skills-based hiring, changing the way small businesses make hiring decisions through a proven skills-based approach to talent sourcing. We are looking forward to an interactive session today, and we encourage you to make sure you warm your fingers up, get your Q&A all the way in the chat box or into the Q&A during this session. We are happy to answer any questions that you may have. And we want to thank you in advance for your commitment to excellence and for choosing APNA as your partner in professional development. At this time, we're going to turn it over into the hands of Miss Robyn, and you can take it away.
Thank you so much, Erica, for that warm welcome. And thank you, everybody, for being here. I'm going to share my screen here and get this going. All right. Can everybody see that? Perfect. All right. Good, Erica. Everybody can see the screen? Wonderful. All right. Well, as Erica said, I am the founder and CEO of Talents Ascend and a very proud Navy veteran. I served in the Navy many years ago. And when I got out of the Navy, I was told my skills didn't translate. And so I had to start my career over. I spent the next 12 years out of the Navy in 10 different jobs in 4 different states, truly trying to find my purpose again and where my skills really were a fit for an organization. And so I finally landed at a Fortune 500 company doing the exact same job that I was doing in the Navy when I got out, but I'd lost all that career progression and that salary growth in that time. Fast forward another 13 years, I was working on my master's and I met an Army veteran's wife in a chat room. She commented her husband had been out for about 6 months and could not get an interview. And it was literally like a lightning bolt hit me in the head to say, why is this still happening? I have to do something about this. So I'd been in HR, as Erica mentioned, for many years. I took that experience along with my Navy experience and said, we've got to come up with a solution. The solution was all around getting rid of resumes and application biased process and really looking at a skills-based approach. So in 2015, I left corporate America, took the leap to go on this mission, and I have not looked back since. I love what I get to do every day, helping small businesses grow, helping our communities thrive. So skills-based hiring really is, and when I think about what we do and what you do from a nanny placement perspective, it's really a lot of the same. It's really about trust in who you're bringing into your companies, who you're having represent your company to your clients. And it's really the same. I was mentioning to Erica earlier that I have 5 grand cherubs who are my absolute life. But the oldest is 15, and we have never had a nanny or a babysitter for those 5 grand cherubs because of trust. So I'm looking forward to learning more about the members of APNA and figuring out how I can get some time with my daughter away from her kids. So thank you for all that you do. But I really see the synergies in what you're doing and what we're doing from a skills-based approach, because when you look at placing a nanny who's going to be taking care of an infant, there's a lot of different skills that go into that versus a 12-year-old or a 10-year-old. Very different model there. Skills-based hiring is truly a strategic approach. Getting the right talent into your business, getting it right, can make or break your business. When you hire the wrong people, it can have detrimental effects, not only for your clients, your reputation, but your bottom line in financial impact as well. For a skills-based approach, it's all about the accurate fit for the role. When you know the skills that you want for your company, you can recognize them more easily within a person that you're hiring or a person that you're interviewing, the human being that's in front of you. But if you don't know those skills, if you're simply going off of tasks, then it's an entirely different conversation you're having with someone. You can easily ask someone, have you cared for an infant before? And they can say yes or no, because it's a closed-ended question. But if you talk to them about the skills required in fulfilling that role, it's an entirely different conversation, and one that's open-ended, where they have to really give you more about their experience, more about who they are. And you can find a much more accurate fit for the roles and the specific skills and competencies that you need. The skills-based approach is based on focusing on the future, the potential and the growth of the people that you're bringing into your organization, not on their past. Because if you look at a resume, people can embellish. There's statistics out there that say, 56% of people just flat out lie on resumes. And so you don't even know if they actually have the skills. But you're wanting to look for their potential for today and the future, what they can do for your business, not what they say they've done for other businesses, but what can they bring to your organization to help you grow. When you engage with employees and candidates from a skills perspective and start to talk about their skills, it's just really a different conversation where they're much more valued. They feel better about themselves. They're going to engage better. They're going to appreciate that you are valuing their skills. And so that really turns into an opportunity to reduce the turnover, which we'll also talk about a little bit later as well. In doing this model, through the things we've just talked about, finding the accurate fit, working on their potential and their growth, you're looking at somebody for what they bring and across your organization. So you're not looking at just one job at a time, where you're looking at the tasks for that, but what skills do you need for your business to grow, particularly in a small business when we wear multiple hats and we need people that can do multiple things for our business. You're looking at the skills that traverse your company, and you're engaging in that perspective versus one job at a time. This will help you navigate industry changes, industry challenges, because when your business needs to pivot and somebody says, well, I can only stay in this lane, you are not able to really grow your business or pivot when it calls for it. So a skills-based approach is really a strategic way to look at your business. I see somebody's in the chat. Erica, do we want to answer the question? Oh, nope, it's not a question. All right, we'll keep going. Very good. All right. So you might recognize this off of the AppNo website. I went out and it really resonated with me to see the word growth, because that's truly what we are doing with our clients and our communities is really facilitating growth. We want small businesses to get to the right talent with the right skills for your business to grow. And we want our candidates who are in underserved communities to grow and thrive and be able to be self-sufficient and sustaining. So it really is a representation of what we do and of course of what you do. There are lots of financial upsides to skills-based hiring, and skills-based it's not new. It's been around for a while. It's just that we've gone from very far left of newspaper ads and walking into a business and sitting down and talking about your skills to applicant tracking systems and a lot of technology that's supposed to make it easier, which it does for large businesses, but for small businesses, those tools can be costly, and they've gone to the far right where they're filtering underserved talent out. So you're not even getting to the talent that you truly need. So this approach is the financial upside to this approach is really about reducing the turnover, improving your retention, increasing productivity. There are a lot of studies out there, whether it's McKinsey or Gartner, ADP, SHRM, that will tell you that if you hire from a skills-based perspective, the employees are 5 times more productive. Think about what you can do with somebody who's 5 times more productive in your business. They stay twice as long. So the retention is 2 times greater than someone who isn't hired in a skills-based model. Turnover cost can be absolutely lethal and fatal to a business. They're so expensive. The time it takes you to actually find that person and then take them through your training, your onboarding, only to find out they're not the right person for your business. They don't have the skills. And what happens for people that embellish their resumes or don't get hired on their skills, they walk in saying they're able to do something, but they really don't have the skills to do it. So now instead of being focused on production and being productive, they're focused on looking over their shoulder thinking, how long is it going to take you to figure out I don't have the skills you need for your business? And so they're not productive. And then they end up finding out this is not the right fit for them, and they end up leaving. Or you have to let them go because they truly aren't doing the job that you need them to do. If you know those skills up front and you hire for those skills, that person hits the ground day one, very proud of who they are, very happy, skilled, and ready to go just right from day one. And so it really gives a different perspective on how you get that person into your organization as well as keep them in your organization. A skills-based model improves innovation. So think about in your businesses, how many ways that you need to continuously expand your services or look for different ways of providing the services to your clients. That innovation, if you've got people who are productive and thinking about their skills and how they can use them and proud of those skills, and you're valuing those skills, they're going to help you grow your business. They're going to want to see your business grow because they're a part of it. It gives them purpose. It gives them a mission to hold on to, and they're going to be more creative and innovative, and you will reap the rewards of that. Recruitment cost, another financial upside to skills-based hiring. There's, again, studies out there that say you can save 78% of your recruiting cost. A lot of that comes in your turnover costs, where if you're not having as much turnover, you're not having to spend as much money on recruiting. And recruiting in the traditional sense, and we'll talk about this in a minute, the recruiting in the traditional sense is hanging that job out there, wherever it may be, going through all the stuff that you're getting back. There's cost associated with that, not just tangible ones, not just hard cost of the application you're maybe using, but your time. Think about what your time is worth. And if you're working on sourcing talent for your business, what are you not doing for your business? Think about what happens when you have an empty seat. That role is empty for a reason. You need to hire someone. That work that you're expecting that new person to do has to still be done. Somebody is doing it within your organization, whether it's another employee that you have or yourself. So now as the business owner, you are trying to do the work of that empty seat. You are trying to source the talents you need, and you're trying to bring in revenue for your business. Something is not getting done. With a skills-based model, you can hire faster because you know the skills that you need for your business. You can easily recognize them and see in the person that's standing in front of you that they have or they don't. You can quickly determine that and move on with your hiring process. So there's a lot of really great financial stability in this model, not only for your business, but your employees and our community. All right, so from a community impact perspective, there's just so much, and we've talked about a little bit about this in the underserved communities, veterans, military spouses, the disability community, and the justice involved communities. There are millions of people in those communities who are being filtered out because of lack of industry experience or previous title or previous employer versus the skills that they bring to the table. So they now take themselves out of the workforce. So when you think of our unemployment numbers, that's not a true picture of the workforce that's available. I always laugh and say there is no talent shortage. There is just a shortage of looking at talent differently. And that's what we're really trying to facilitate, is helping you see the talent is out there. And when you approach it from a skills-based perspective, you're going to get connected to these underserved communities much better because they have the skills. They just need the opportunity to get to you, to tell you about their skills. We address these societal challenges by being inclusive to veterans and the communities that I described. Being self-sufficient. Think about the last time when you submitted resumes or applications and got rejected or got judged on something that was on there. How did that make you feel? And the fact that you can't get through to an interview process, you can't be self-sufficient. What happens in our communities when veterans can't get jobs, when military spouses can't support their military families, when somebody with a disability who's brilliant can't get to an interview, or somebody who's been justice impacted can't get a job? What happens in our communities, as we know, is they rely on government assistance then. Who pays for that? We do as taxpayers. And wouldn't it be much better from a community perspective when they can get a great job supporting themselves and their families? Where do they spend their money? They're going to spend their money back into their local community, and they may even go on a date with their wife and hire a nanny. So it's just a win-win for everybody. Mental health, when you think about recidivism, when you think about breaking the cycles of poverty, food insecurities, just homelessness and suicide rates for these underserved communities, the impact of that on all of us can just be exponentially better when they're mentally ready for their positions, when they're given the opportunities to thrive. It just has a win-win scenario for everyone. There's a great John D. Rockefeller quote I saw recently. My chief of staff actually posted it, and it says, I just want to make sure I get this right. I believe the dignity of labor, whether by hand or by head, that the world owes no man a living, but it owes every man an opportunity to make a living. And I truly believe that. I really think that's impactful. Our businesses can grow when giving people the opportunity to be seen as a human being, regardless of their gender, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of their age, regardless of their background, or regardless of how they earned their skills, whether it's from school, just life in general, or the military. We all deserve to have that opportunity. And that's really what we're facilitating here in our part of our mission. Okay, let's talk about our model. And I'm going through this pretty fast, so please, if you have any questions, do stop me. So our model is really about helping small businesses effectively adopt a skills-based process through our concierge service, because we're really doing all the work for you in sourcing the talent that you need for your business. And we do that through Kate, who is our career AI talent equalizer. She's our AI, proprietary AI that we built. And it's really equalizing the opportunity for our underserved talent to get to an interview. And it's equalizing the opportunity for small businesses to get to that talent, because you don't always have the resources, the time, the money, all of those things to tap into specialized talent pools. And that's what Kate facilitates. So our AI translates a candidate's experience into skills. So there's no reason for a candidate, it's all blind matching. There's no reason for a candidate to manipulate their experience, or there's no good reason for them to need to do that. They just get to be proud of who they are and what they've earned in their experience, wherever they got it. And they get to be proud of that. And it enables them to match to something that needs their specific skills and gets that opportunity that they can thrive. Our model is a 90-day membership for our members, and it's completely unlimited. So there's no per job fee, there's no direct hire placement fee, because we want small businesses to look at your business across your organization. Again, not just one job at a time, not one role at a time, but what does your business need to grow today, tomorrow, next year, etc. We want you to be able to think proactively about the talent that your organization needs and the skills that will make you successful. So Kate does all that in the background by translating that experience into skills. She also translates your jobs into skills so that they can match on skills, location, and salary. While Kate is doing that, our concierge acquisition managers who are assigned to each member, we call them CAMs. They're basically a fractional recruiter. They're the ones doing all the rest of the work in the sourcing model for you. And this really facilitates you handing everything over to us, handing over your precious, as you're doing with your nanny placements, your clients are handing over their precious gifts from God, their children over to your nannies. We are having you hand over basically your company and letting us be an extension of that. And they take over the role of putting your jobs into our platform, knowing what skills you need, working with you to make sure that the skills that we're saying that are appropriate to the position are the skills that you need. They're also looking for the culture and what kind of fit or what kind of people that you're looking for in your business that would make good employees. They're learning that as they go along. They're reviewing the matches every day that Kate returns to them. They're engaging with the candidates. They're making sure they're further qualifying those candidates for other certifications or anything else that you may need that we don't ask for in Kate. And then they're setting up interviews for you. So they're really letting you do all the things that you're good at while we do all the things that we're good at. Along the way, we've built up a community. We have relationships with every military installation around the world, and we cultivate those relationships on a weekly basis. We are also a DoD, DOL partner, Employment Navigator partner. So we're building that network on your behalf and leveraging that, which is something that would be impossible for you to try to do, wouldn't even really be in your wheelhouse to do that. But you're missing out on that talent that's out there in those communities where we can tap into them on your behalf. It really comes down to small businesses need a small business solution, a cost-effective business solution for you, not just a zippy monster job board that will indeed take your money, but not really care about the results that you're getting. We are all about the results and making sure that your business can grow while our communities around us can thrive as well. Benefits to you is really while you're working on your business, we're doing what we do best. You're bringing in more revenue instead of trying to source talent that you feel is not out there and you can't connect to them. We're doing that for you. All right. Any questions? I'll pause for a second.
Yes, I have a question. So, how could a solopreneur or a business owner for whom they are just starting out and they're starting to interview nannies or household staff for families, and maybe they don't have the budget to connect with your organization, how would you advise them to start looking into a skills-based approach, and how does that differ from your traditional recruitment process as it pertains to posting jobs or interview questions?
Great question. Absolutely. The very absolute first thing is know the skills that you're looking for. It's not just that you have a job to fill, but what skills are required of the tasks for that job. We talked about it earlier. If you're placing somebody that's going to be taking care of an infant, what skills are required in taking care of an infant, and look for those skills. So when you write a job description, write it from the skills perspective, not just the task perspective. We've been trained, unfortunately, in the HR world that a job description should be a list of tasks because you need somebody to do these tasks. but you really need somebody that has the skills for your business, because the task on that list could change tomorrow. And you need somebody that can adapt with you. So looking for skills, and we have some great resources on our website that can help you. 5 tips to skills-based hiring that will take you through the 5 initial steps to build that for your business. We also have a model out there that can help you kind of flow chart through a job and the tasks and turn them into skills and kind of think about that. So that's the first place I would say to start. And once you do that, again, as you're interviewing people, you will quickly know that that person is a fit or not. So now you're going to save time in that interview process, or you may not even bring someone in that you've connected with if you don't feel they have the skills for your business. So that's where I would say start, know the skills, think about everything in your business in terms of skills versus tasks.
Very good. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on. So I have this, which is a really great segue into from the question and really what you kind of go through in the traditional hiring model, which can be very time consuming. So what you need to do is kind of weigh out your time. And I'll talk about that in a minute. We've got a great calculator on our website that'll kind of walk you through the steps of that. But on the left-hand side here, you'll see this is our process. Basically, you just turn over everything to us and we take it from there. And we're just filling your calendar with interviews while you continue to work on your business. And we become an extension of you and your business by getting to know you and what your business needs, versus the traditional, hiring process where you're hanging a job out on either a job board or some sort of board that tries to get you candidates, but you're getting applicants, a lot of who are unqualified. Now you've got to go through all of that time it takes you to wade through those resumes, wade through those applications. And that's a lot of time. Then you got to do initial screenings. You got to track people down, make sure they're responsive, make sure that they're interested, make sure that their salary is aligned with what you're offering. So there's a lot of steps in the traditional model that really is cost prohibitive for small business owners, solopreneurs, just really trying to start out and hire their first employee. It can be very costly and very daunting when you're trying to do this on your own. There's really just 3 steps to our model. And again, we take over all those time-consuming aspects of the hiring process for you. Our model is based on company size. So we do have a solopreneur and very small business model, and it goes up from there. But we do think about how, when you look at the time you're investing in sourcing talent versus the cost of our model. Woody Guthrie, I love this quote. He said that any fool can make something complicated. It takes a genius to make it simple. So I think, in your businesses as well, you really break it down into the simplicity of what those families need from you. We're doing the same thing on our side, is what do you really need in terms of the talent that you need for your organization? So, do we have another question?
Yes. So when sourcing, are you sourcing by location? Are you able to source applicants by specific location?
Yes, great question. So we do source by location. So that's one of the criteria that Kate will match a candidate on. We do ask our candidates, because most of them are military. We do ask the candidates to tell us where in the US they want to work, so they can put it in multiple locations. So they will only match to your careers if they are located where you are or need them to be, or they're willing to relocate there. And I know relocation is like, oh, we don't do relocation, but if you know, the DoD will pay for a service member to relocate during their first year out of the military. The DoD pays for that. So just keep that in mind. Relocation doesn't need to be a scary proposition. And a lot of times the military families will pay their own relocation to get back home, to get back to where they want to be. But yes, we do. Kate matches on skills first to make sure that's the highest priority, then location and salary requirement as well. Great question. All right. I mentioned some resources on our website. There's a QR code for our website as well as the URL there. We've got some great free resources, because we really, not only do we want to help make these connections, but we truly want to help educate small businesses on the upside of this model, because we want you to thrive and we want you to grow. Small businesses are the backbone of this country, and we just wouldn't be where we are today without small businesses. So we really want to help. We've got a cost calculator, as I mentioned, out there. When you think about turnover, I think the estimates are, the latest estimate is about $15,000. And you think about, how can that be in a small business? It really is when you look at everything that goes into a turnover in your business. So we have a great cost calculator out on our website, and you can just plug in how much are you paying yourself or an operations manager or somebody that's doing the hiring for you. How much time are they spending on that on a weekly basis? How many clients could you bring in during that time? What's your revenue worth? And it just spits out the information to show you if you're spending time on sourcing talent or you're having someone else do it, the cost to your organization in multiple ways. So really good information out there. We put out a new blog every week, so you can find information on skills-based hiring, either from a small business perspective or the candidate's perspective in hiring into these underserved communities. So great information on our blogs. And we really are small business focused. We are a small business. We know how important every minute of the day is, every dollar that you bring in. And we're very respectful of that, very mindful of that in our model. But you really need a solution that's built for small businesses, not large corporations. And Kate really is that solution. So I think that's it. Do we have another question, Erica?
Yes, we do. We have lots of questions. So,
Awesome.
we have business owners on today. And so while we do hope that, everyone will, continue to build the business ecosystem and, cross-refer businesses and things like that, for individuals and business owners who are looking to transition into this model personally, even if they weren't going to do it through your company, what would be the tips? So you talked about moving the focus off of tasks, but moving on to skills. What would that look like in a job description? If you have something that's like, I need someone to, take care of a newborn and I need them to, be punctual and things like that. I need them to be able to be flexible. What is a job description that is built off of skills? How does that differ from a job description that is listing tasks?
Yeah, great question. So when you think about it, when you look for somebody that can take care of an infant, you're likely going to say, really from a task perspective, the line would say, needs to have experience taking care of an infant. What does that mean in terms of the skills? Do you need somebody that knows how to do diapering properly or swaddling properly, or just being able to be mindful of infants sleeping and SIDS and all of those things, all of those nuances of an infant caretaker versus somebody that's older, where if you're nannying for a 10-year-old, the task required to do that, you got to keep them busy, you need to get activities. Those are the skills required. So somebody that needs to care for an infant needs to be mindful of schedules, watching their food. I'm just trying to be related to nannying in particular. We always use the example of, if you ask me if I've chopped down a tree before, I can say yes or no. And that's a task on your job description. Experience chopping down a tree. Well, I can say yes to that. But if you ask me, have I used power tools? Have I done mathematical calculations? Do I have safety protocols? Those are the skills in that particular job that's required. If you ask me about those things, it's an entirely different conversation. So what I would say is, and our task to skills document that we have on our website kind of walks you through. It asks you questions about the particular job, and that's a free resource for you. It asks you questions to take you through that job and think about it in terms of skills. So that would be a great resource for the employers to take a look at, because it'll ask you questions. What does this job entail? What are the skills required? Look at each task and say, if I had to say what skills, what are they? It takes some time to think about it initially, because it's an entirely different way of looking at hiring people. But the upside to it, once you do that, once you know the skills that you need for your business, those conversations with potential employees or applicants goes much better and much faster, because you can quickly understand and know somebody can't fake. If you ask them, how do you swaddle a baby? Somebody can't fake that, right? They can't really fake. How do you know an infant's schedule? Tell me about your experience with that, versus just saying, have you taken care of a newborn? That is an entirely, again, break it down. And once you do that, even though it's a little time consuming in the beginning, once you do that, the return on that is just really exponential. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. How do you help the companies maybe that you're recruiting for to how do you help them communicate to their end result? So whether that be a client or someone else that they're sourcing for, the benefit of hiring this person based off of skills versus hiring someone based solely off their resume. If they're looking at candidates whose resumes look very impressive, but you have this individual who maybe was a veteran, but has lots and lots of experience and has the skills necessary to be successful, how do you sell that person on why that's important?
Yeah, great question. We talk about this a lot. We get the pushback quite a bit that somebody says, I need to see a resume to see that they have 5 years of industry experience.
Mhm.
I always go back and say, what skills do you require that person to have acquired in 5 years of working in the industry? So if you're looking at from a nanny perspective and somebody says, I need somebody who's taking care of an infant for 5 years at least, what skills do you want that person to demonstrate? What skills do you want that person to make sure they have in order to take care of your infant?
Yeah.
That's what a skills-based process will do. Whereas lying on a resume, you don't know that they have those exact skills until you ask for those
Yeah.
exact skills. We do get a lot of pushback because it is new, although skills-based hiring is really an up and coming revolutionary way to look at talent. And there's a lot of ROI to it, a lot of impact. But if somebody gives you pushback on it, basically just say to them, what skills would you be comfortable with this person having? Because we want to know when we place a nanny with you, that person has those skills that you're looking for. And help have that client give you those skills, have them really think about it with you, because then they won't have as much pushback when you present someone with those skills whose resume may look good or not,
Yeah.
but they know and they trust that you've now looked at them from a skills perspective and you know what they need, and you're going to find that person with those skills. It just takes a conversation. It just takes more proving that this concept works, because if I have the skills, it doesn't matter where I got them. It doesn't matter how I earned them. It doesn't matter if I don't have a college degree. If I have the skills that you need, have a conversation with me, because human to human, you can figure out if they're the right fit for you. But it's just getting to that door that our underserved talent has a hard time with.
I really love how you just said that. I think that that's going to be a takeaway for me. And I think for some of us today, in asking clients, what are you looking for when you're saying that you want a candidate with 5 years of experience or 7 years of experience? What skills and competencies do you expect they would have gained in those 5 years? I think that's a great question and a great takeaway. Joe is asking, can you talk to us about background checks and how you vet and verify these particular skills?
So we are really on the honor system, but again, because it's a blind matching process, there's no reason for the candidates to embellish or make up anything on their profile. We ask them what their occupation is. We translate that into skills. They can certainly change them if they have certifications or other qualifications. They can add those in. They can take out skills they don't want to be matched on. But because of our matching process, it truly is really saying these are the skills you're going to get matched on. If you truly want a great career, only put skills in here that you have. There's no reason for them to make it up, because every one of our candidates that match gets an interview. So they're either getting an interview with our CAM, and that's part of the problem, where people are embellishing on resumes and applications because they can't get to an interview. They
Yeah.
can't get through the filters. So it's caused applicants to start making things up just to get through the filters, just to get to a human being that they can talk to about their skills. So we've taken that out of the equation and making sure that we are translating their true experience. Now, we do ask candidates to attest when they create their profile. We do ask them to attest to the accuracy and the truth that they are presenting on their profile. And then additionally, as Kate matches them, our CAMs are engaging with those candidates, they're asking some of those further qualifying questions and really vetting them a little bit more. We don't do background checks, like the traditional background checks of history or activity. But our CAMs do meet with every candidate before they're presented to our clients, making sure that if there's a certification you need, or there's, again, culture fit, we're looking for those things. So we're further vetting them. We have rejected some candidates from a culture perspective, or we just really don't feel like their skills are as strong as a member needs particularly. So, but we do that process as part of our model.
Jackie is saying, will this type of resource or this type of recruitment process replace a traditional process, or is this something that comes alongside a traditional process?
Our goal is for it to replace the traditional model because it's really broken. As I just said, the underserved talent, one, they're taking themselves out of the workforce because they can't get through the filters. So they stop applying for jobs. So now there are millions of veterans, millions of military spouses, millions of people with identifying as having a disability, people that have some level of criminal activity, criminal record. They're not even applying for jobs anymore. So they're not included in our unemployment number, by the way, because they're not even applying for jobs. They're not getting through. So our hiring process traditionally is broken. And it's also built for large corporations. ATS, process that was built for large companies who have a large volume of applicants that they needed to really whittle down. It doesn't work for a small business. So I do definitely see, as the trends are coming, as the process is getting more and gaining more traction, that this will be a model, particularly for small businesses, that will replace the traditional resume and application process.
Do you feel like that would be different for this particular field, given the fact that, so for example, with your company, that there aren't background checks, however, we deal with individuals with their children in their homes. And so in those different environments, then background checks are thereby crucial, and maybe those who have had run-ins with justice and things like that may have opportunities in other fields that may not serve them in this particular field. Do you feel like that is true of that, or that that's a mismatch?
Absolutely. I mean, as I mentioned, I've got 5 grand cherubs. Would I trust them with just anyone? Absolutely not. Right. So your criteria, and in our system particularly, you can let us know if someone with a criminal record is not a viable candidate for you. And we have understanding of that. There's lots of rules and regulations. What we're trying to facilitate is removing any discrimination for these underserved talent pools and giving them opportunities. But we also know that the reality is there are certain roles where people with some sort of criminal record cannot be placed in certain roles. So we understand that. What I would say is, if a background check, and certainly necessary for the people that you're placing, that is something that we still have your business would do, because that's, once we give you that candidate and you say, yes, this is a great person, you can do that background check at that point. We just don't do it because we want that decision to be up to the companies and the employers that we work with. Does that make sense?
Good. Jackie's also asking, does skills-based hiring relieve us from posting our roles on Indeed?
Yes. Yes. Well, I mean, certainly if you use our service, yes. Now, if you're still using Indeed, which is very, very expensive and very, very time consuming for small business owners, if you're still using Indeed, what's happening is you're still posting those traditional job descriptions out there. Or you may use some skills if you've written your job descriptions in a skills-based model, but you're still going to get applicants who are just throwing anything they can at the application and trying to get through. There's still a lot of time-consuming process there. Once you get to the right people, then you can implement, again, further your skills-based model in knowing who you want to talk to. But you're going to have to filter through a lot of stuff to get there. So,
Absolutely. How can skills-based recruiting help us to ensure that we're assessing a cultural fit between families and nannies during the recruitment process?
great question. So let me step back to the Indeed question for a second, though. But you'll see, even like LinkedIn, Indeed, they're all trying to implement some sort of skills matching process, right? So that tells you that skills-based is really important, and they're trying to figure out how they can do that. But again, they're built for large corporations. They're built for volume activity, and they're therefore not really a well, answer for small businesses. Now, to get the nannies, again, what you're looking for is, from a culture perspective, do you need somebody that, if they're taking care of an infant, one infant at a time, one infant just by themselves, maybe they could be introverted because they're not having to, there's not a lot for them to deal with. They could be neurodiverse, where they're very detail oriented, very focused. So those are kind of things, again, as you know, the role that you're trying to fill, and the clients will tell you, this is our only child. This is what we are looking for. We have a dog. We have all these things. We have an alarm system, all of those things that they're going to have to deal with. Somebody that's neurodivergent would fit very nicely in that, or they wouldn't. So once you get that information from your clients, and again, get them to give you as many details as you can, because the more you know about what they're looking for, the better you can then find somebody that fits the bill, and you're not having to go back and forth or have them be disappointed because they're not the right person that you've placed with them. So there are nuances, again, introverted, I don't want to be in a bunch of people. I can only handle 3 kids. So, you need to have those kind of details of how many children will you be taking care of, or what are the hours that you're going to be taking care of them. This is a night position. You need somebody that's going to be overnight with a family. So understanding the skills that are required of staying up all night or being responsive if you're sleeping, those are kind of things that you can ask for and talk about in the interviews.
So you spoke to the fact that a lot of online platforms are built for larger companies, ATS systems and things like that. Are there any tools or platforms that you do recommend that would assist individuals outside of Talent Ascend, that would assist individuals in streamlining the skill-based talent acquisition lane?
So there are quite a few. Again, I have not found any that are truly focused on small businesses. Now, there are a lot of tools out there, I will say, that will help you think about your jobs in terms of skills. So a lot of resources that you can learn from. But unfortunately, we have not found, in the 10 years we've been doing this, we've not found any other business, honestly, because working with small businesses, you don't get millions of dollars, right? So it's the cost for these businesses to invest in a tool or into a process like this costs money, and they want that return. So unfortunately, I have not found any businesses that are focused on small businesses, but there are plenty of resources out there. The SBA has a lot of resources out there, and they are talking about skills-based hiring. So a lot of resources that will help you. And we're happy to, anybody can reach out to us. Our email address is there. Happy to help you with any resources, answer any questions that you have, because we're just really focused on your success and being, having you be, continue to be a part of our community.
Yeah. How do you balance the high touch personalized approach that's necessary for our field of work with building community and giving underserved populations the opportunity to interview?
It's the underserved community, the talent is there. It's just getting them to the door, right? And I think that's the process that we're facilitating, or skills-based hiring facilitates, because when you recognize the skills that you need for your company, as you're out in the community, you may meet a server at a restaurant who demonstrates the skills that you're looking for. Knowing that, you can easily have a conversation with that person. Hey, would you be interested in working for a nanny service? So recognizing it and knowing it, you being able to be out in your community and seeing that really will help you get to that result faster. So
I love that. I think, does anybody else have any questions? I asked all the ones that I saw in the chat box. If anyone else has any questions, feel free to jump in. I definitely feel like this is very eye-opening. It's definitely something that will have me thinking about our recruitment process and how we engage candidates for positions, how we write job descriptions, how we communicate with clients and intake calls, to really focus on the skills versus just the tasks. I think that a skills-based competency or behavior led or behavior lean on questions is really, really important. And I feel like that is where so many, HR practices are headed, like you said, at this point, is really just working on the competencies. And I really like something that you said earlier on focusing on what they can do moving forward versus spending tons of time focusing on what they've already done. I think that that's really important. When we look at even professional development and things like that, I'm always not asking people what classes they attended. I'm always asking them, like, what have you signed up for? What are your plans for professional development for the rest of the year? What books are you currently reading? Which ones are on your list to read? To really put that lean on, like, is this something that you did in a prior life that you no longer engage in, or is this something you're still actively in? So I really enjoyed that insight that you gave there. If we don't have any more questions, we're going to just hit some few reminders. I thank each and every one of you for taking time out today to join us. Hopefully you've got a few nuggets that will help you take a different lean on the way that you approach your recruitment style. Many times recruitment can be a sore point for many agencies at different seasons of the year. And so maybe looking into finding ways to assess a skills-based competency throughout our processes could be another tool in our toolbox that would help us to have business success. I do want to remind you that it's still time to register for our conference. Our conference is October 23rd through the 25th in Oceanside, California. You still have time to register and to register for the conference and book rooms. The rooms are only available at the APNA rate until September 30th. So you just have a few more days. If you're on the fence, I encourage you just hop on over that fence. No good things happen straddling the fence. Just hop on over, join us in California. We're going to have a great time. I also want to remind you that our mastermind groups and our accelerated program will be open for the 2025 year on October 1st. So if you are looking to be a part of a mastermind group, or you've always wanted to, or you stepped out of one and would like to step back in one, this is the time to sign up. We would love to have you. Any questions that you may have, we would encourage you just to forward them to us. We'd be happy to have a conversation. I just want to thank you again for your time and for your consideration, for the time and that you've invested in growing yourself as a human and growing your businesses. Once again, thank you for choosing APNA as a source and a destination for your professional development needs. I wish you all the best. I hope to see so many of your faces in October, and thank you again for your time. Thank you, Ms. Robyn, for your time, and everyone have a great and wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.